All right, today, so we're going to be going over 5 secrets of letting go and detaching from outcome that make you extremely attractive. Stay tuned through this video to the end so that you can learn more about how you can do this, because I think a lot of people understand the power of this, but how you can do this and how you can set yourself up for massive relationship success through this process of letting go. Anyway, with that being said, let's go ahead and get on into this. Hey there, it's Clay with modernlove.life. And today we are, of course, talking about letting go, 5 secrets to letting go that help make you extremely attractive and how you can start putting this into action in your life today. As we've talked about through recent videos on this channel, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get what you want. In fact, letting go of attachment to outcome actually makes it more likely that you're going to get what you want. And this video is going to explain why that is the case. So the first thing is that when you start to let go of attachment to outcome, you sort of release this taking energy. Now, what do I mean by this? When you have a high level of attachment to outcome, when you are very attached to making something work with a specific person or your partner or your ex or something like that, and you're watching every move that they make and overanalyzing everything that they do and trying to read between the lines of every text message that they send you or everything that they post on social media, it often has this sort of very insecure sort of taking energy, like, okay, this is what I want, I just need to watch and make sure that it's going the way that I want it to. If it's not, then I'm gonna worry about it. If it is going okay, then maybe things are gonna be okay, and I'm just sort of like slowly inching towards this thing that I want, which is, the relationship or the commitment or the date or, whatever else it might be. I should hope we all know that it's basic knowledge at this point that, being needy, being clingy, being desperate it's not going to help you out, right? And when you're overly attached to outcome, you're really embodying this sort of needy, clingy, desperate energy. And there's a lot of people out there that look for ways that they could maybe try to mask this, looking for tips or secrets or strategies or something like that to make it seem as if they're not needy or desperate. But it's always going to shine through in the end, no matter what you do. There's always going to be some unpredictable situation that comes up, some unpredictable circumstance where your cards are revealed for whatever they are. And if you're needy and desperate, then that's going to come across. And so rather than just memorizing clever comebacks and one-liners and how to respond if this happens and what to do if that happens, it's much more helpful to just work on letting go of any sort of needy behavior that you might be holding on to. When you just embody non-attachment to outcome, then you don't have to worry about, oops, I accidentally, let it out that I'm really into you. I need to work on making it seem like I'm more aloof or making it seem like I'm playing hard to get or something like that. But if you just naturally are it, then you don't have to worry about that. That's another common concern that people have is, how do I not look needy and desperate, right? It's like, okay, the best way to not look needy and desperate is to not look needy, is to not be needy and desperate. And I know, easier said than done, but if you stop looking at the tactics of, well, should I play hard to get? Should I wait 3 hours or 4 hours or a day or 2 days before texting back? But if you stop looking at that stuff and just say, okay, let me just release my attachment to outcome and just do whatever I want to do. Let the cards fall how they are. I'm not attached to outcome. It doesn't matter if someone sees me as that way or not, because I'm not attached to outcome. And therefore, even if I potentially even do the same things, it's not going to come across as being attached to outcome. The second secret to letting go is that it actually allows you to calm your emotions down and to act from a place of intentionality rather than, panic or something like that. I work with a lot of people who are going through the process of a breakup, a breakup that they did not particularly want themselves. Many times these people want to try to, save their relationships. Maybe that's you. Maybe you want to save your relationship as well too. And, we have this little phrase here in our little community called damage control mode that sort of sums up the sort of panicked emotional state that many people find themselves in, immediately after a breakup, or sometimes whenever they get some unpleasant news, like, oh, hey, my partner is actually in a rebound relationship, or, they said they don't want to see me anymore, or something like that. That sends people off into these sort of panic spirals of, worst case scenario thinking and scarcity and all that sort of stuff. And it can inspire them to do things that maybe aren't in their own best interest, or maybe they later regret, like calling or texting like way too much, begging and pleading, trying some sort of grand romantic gesture, things like that. Things that probably aren't going to have the greatest positive impact. Let's say that. They definitely have a big impact, but probably not a positive impact. And again, I've been there myself. I'm not, trying to make you feel bad or anything like that. I've been there myself. I've done all that. I've made all the mistakes, and somehow miraculously I've recovered from all of that and been able to actually, get back together with the woman that I call my big ex. Acting from this place of damage control mode is not helping you. Acting from this place of being at the whims of circumstance and your emotion is not helping you. And when you start to detach from outcome, you can really start to take on a more stable emotional place where you're not as easily rocked by the circumstance and events that could be happening in your situation or in your life. But you're more rooted, more grounded. And that is, of course, incredibly helpful and incredibly beneficial. I think if we think about a lot of the people that we would consider to be incredibly attractive or desirable, you probably think that most of them would be emotionally stable. Whoever it might be for you, maybe some celebrity or some person that you know personally in your life, or, something like that. It's probably someone that you think of or imagine as someone who's pretty emotionally stable. If you don't text them back for 3 hours or something, they're not going to lose it, or something like that, right? And so it's really helpful to embody this sort of detached stability in your own life as well too. By the way, if you like this video, please help me out with this whole YouTube channel and help spread the word by hitting the thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm, and by subscribing to this YouTube channel, and make sure you hit the notification bell as well too while you're doing that. And also, just go ahead and drop me a comment down below letting me know what is your biggest challenge when it comes to emotionally detaching as well too in the comment section. All of these things will help us out with the YouTube algorithm. Anyway, moving right along, being detached from outcome actually also allows you to be more authentic in how you're showing up. It allows you to be more yourself, more who you genuinely are, because you're not being driven by this scarcity thinking that, like, oh, hey, I have to get this right. This is my one chance. If I blow it, I'll never get another opportunity, or whatever it might be. That often comes with being heavily attached to outcome. And as you start to detach from outcome, you'll start to find that you don't have to try to set things up to your advantage. You don't have to try to game the system. You don't have to try to take advantage of every opportunity. You don't have to try and force things to be or seem a certain way. When you let go of that, there's actually a great amount of freedom on the other side of that. Freedom where you don't have to contort yourself into someone or something that you're not or don't resonate with. And you can actually show up as the person that you are. Like one of the big taglines that we have for this YouTube channel is that, you deserve to be loved for who you are. No mind games, no playing hard to get, no pretending to be someone or something that you're not, all that sort of stuff. And, I mean it. And the way to do that is to become detached from outcome. There's so much advice out there in the dating and relationship world about, you have to be, an alpha male. You have to lift weights and, read Stoicism and, make like $1 million with some online business that you started, and sleep with a million women and all that sort of stuff if you're a guy, or with a woman, it could be the other side of the coin. You have to be super feminine and sexy and like flirtatious and all that sort of stuff. And that, again, it's fine if you want to do that. It's okay if you want to do that. Like, I exercise, I lift weights, I do that sort of stuff too, but I'm not doing it because I'm trying to force some sort of outcome of trying to gain validation from the opposite sex or something like that. I'm doing it because I want to do it in my own life. I'm doing it because it's something that's important to me, right? And so there's a big difference between doing something because it's a means to an end versus just doing something because it's something that you want to do. If you're attached to outcome, you're much more likely to do things because it's a means to an end rather than because it's a true expression of who you genuinely are. Again, I was talking to a client last week who said, hey, I've been reading some stuff and it says, I need to, be a macho guy. I need to, lift weights and everything like that. And I'm like, well, do you want to? Like, if you want to, go ahead and do it. If you don't, then don't force yourself to do it. Do the things that are interesting to you. And that's really what being detached from outcome gives you permission to do. It gives you permission to fully and genuinely express who you are in ways like this, where it's like, okay, maybe I don't want to lift weights. Maybe I want to take a walk, along the water. Looks like we've got a few clouds on the water today. Maybe it also comes across in individual instances and circumstances and situations where, you're talking to someone and you think, okay, what is it I need to say in order to make them like me? And you can go from that, being attached to outcome, getting them to like you, to being detached from outcome, where it's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to be all right no matter what happens. What is it I feel like saying in this situation? What is it I feel like doing in this situation? And then just, saying it or doing it, and then just letting the cards shake out however they may. That's going to be much more impactful and powerful for you in relationships and in dating kind of situations. The fourth secret to being detached from outcome is that it's setting you up to actually be more of the kind of person that probably most people want to be with. We talked about emotional stability, and we talked about all of this sort of stuff. But if you cut right down to it, when you are detached from outcome and when you give yourself permission to be the kind of person that you want to be, and when you give yourself permission to show up authentically, a sort of magical thing happens. Number one, you're able to clearly broadcast who you are, right? So you don't have to perform some sort of contortion act in order to get someone to like you. You don't have to be a chameleon. You don't have to put on an act, put on a show, put on a performance or anything like that just to get someone to like you. Because you're not attached to them liking you. You're not attached to them falling in love with you. You're not attached to them vindicating you somehow or validating you somehow. Instead, you're just like, hey, this is who I am, right? And that is incredibly trust inspiring, because now people genuinely know where you are and what you stand for. So that's going to get people to be very interested in you. But additionally, it's also going to give them permission to show up as themselves around you. Because when you're very attached to outcome, and when you're walking on eggshells and you're trying to get it right, when you're looking for validation and all of that, it can be very difficult for other people. Now, again, I know a lot of people will think that, hey, I'll just put on a really good act and they'll never know that I'm actually attached to outcome. I'll learn all the tricks. I'll learn all the one-liners. I'll learn all the mind games, and they'll just think that I'm a, manipulative, evil, dark empath or something like that. But no, it's going to come across if you're attached to outcome. And when you are attached to outcome, there's this sort of energy, this sort of vibe that's put out that's like, hey, you gotta handle me with kid gloves, because I'm not gonna be able to take it. I'm not gonna be able to handle it if you were to tell me honestly what's going on, if you were to respond authentically to me. And many times that inspires people to keep a good distance from you and to hold themselves back. And that's obviously not what we want. We want other people to be vulnerable and honest with us. That's why there's so many tips and strategies and mind games about how to know what someone's really thinking, or how to get them to tell you how they really feel, or something like that. You got to look in the mirror, right? If you need to play a mind game to get someone to tell you how they really feel, maybe you should start working on being a little bit more transparent yourself too. But anyway, the whole thing is that as you are showing up as more and more detached from outcome, it's easier to read you. It's easier for someone to know where you stand. It's easier for someone to trust you. You know, there is something to say about mystery, but people should never be mysterious about their own personality. You should be able to look at someone and know what that person's personality is, so that you can trust that person. If you don't know what that person's personality is, that's called being incredibly scary and dangerous, right? That's why people often say, oh, that person's creepy, right? It's because you don't know where you stand with them. You don't know what they want. You don't know any of that stuff. Of course, people can be mysterious in other ways, like, you know, being flirty and playing little fun games and things like that. But they should always know emotionally and personality-wise, you know, who you are. It also gives them permission to get closer to you, and to feel closer to you, and to open up to you themselves as well too, because they know that they can be any way they want around you. They don't have to treat you with kid gloves or hold themselves back or anything like that. They can actually be honest with you, and that you're going to be accepting of them, however it is that they are in that particular moment. And the fifth secret benefit to being detached from outcome is that it helps you know that you're going to be okay no matter what happens. That's the big takeaway from all of this. You know, we get so lost in the weeds of a situation or a relationship or a circumstance that we think, okay, I'm just not going to be able to handle it if they reject me. I'm not going to be able to handle it if they say no. I'm not going to be able to handle it if they don't want to be with me. But you know, look at your life. Look at yourself. I don't know how old you are. I don't know what your life experience has been, but you know, I'm 40 years old. Somehow, I have been able to handle everything in my life up to this point that has allowed me to be here for 40 years, right? I may not have always been graceful, and things may have definitely not always gone the way that I wanted them to, but I've been able to make it for 40 years. And I'm probably, fingers crossed, going to keep making it for many, many more years to come, until, you know, someday when I'm like, you know, 80 or 90 or whatever, I won't make it, and, you know, something will happen, and I'll just move on to whatever's on the other side of this mortal life. You've made it this far. And whether or not something works out with your ex or your specific person or the person you got a crush on or something like that, you're going to be okay. You're going to find a way to make it. You're going to find a way to handle it. And if you can get that, not just intellectually, it's easy enough to get it intellectually, but if you can get it deep down emotionally, where you know that you're going to be okay no matter what happens, that's going to give you the power, the strength to be detached from outcome, because you know that you're going to be able to handle it, even if they say no, even if they say they don't want to be in a relationship with you, even if they say, you know, go take a hike or something, you're going to be able to handle it. And as long as you continue to embody love, as long as you continue to do the things that you need to do to bring you closer to the person that you want to be, you will naturally draw to you the equivalent of that into your life. So if you align yourself with love, you will pull love to you. And I promise you, even if the one person that you're focused on right now doesn't want to be in a relationship with you, someone amazing will come to you who is aligned with that love frequency that you're putting out. And you'll never have wanted it to be another way when it actually happens. It might sound disappointing right now. Oh, you know, maybe the person I want, you know, I might not be able to be with them. But I can promise you, first of all, if you do let go of attachment to outcome, you're much more likely to actually get that person to want to be with you. But second of all, even if they're not a good fit for you for whatever reason, you can pull into you and toward you the kind of person that's probably even better than that. And when it comes to you, you'll never even wish that it happened any other sort of way. I can tell you that from my own experience, you know, moving past my big ex and eventually finding the woman that would become my wife. Definitely a very different sort of woman than I'm used to. And I think it's definitely for the better. And I'm so grateful that it happened the way that it did. Anyway, with that being said, the next thing that I'd like you to do is to check out this video series right over here. It's on how to naturally and automatically attract the kind of relationship that you want into your life. Go ahead and check it out. It's the next step in this whole process, and I think it'll help you out a lot. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time.